I've had requests for my raised beds, and I did put up some plans earlier. They're on my Facebook page, Georgia Mad Gardener, but I'll include them at the end of this video. So what I'm going to do is show you how to make one of my raised beds. It's a 4x8 raised bed, and I have some of these that I made 7 years ago that are as solid as the day I made them. The galvanized steel seems to hold up fine. I use pressure treated on the bottom, for the wood, and not an issue. I do not recommend using regular wood because of termites, especially around in the south, because anything that touches ground is subject to be eaten up. But you're going to need 3 of the 8-foot sheets of galvanized steel. You're going to need 11 of the 2x4x8 pressure treated wood. You will need a box of 2.5-inch screws and a box of 1-inch screws. Now that can vary a little, 1/4 inch one way or the other, but basically that's what you're going to need. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut everything up and get that ready, and then I'll show you the assembly. Alright, now first we need to cut one of our pieces of steel. Alright, and I'll measure it out halfway, 4 foot, right in the middle. Now I took a scrap piece, so you can take one of the other sheets, make you several marks going across, and then use another sheet to take your pencil and make your line. Okay. Now you can cut it using several different ways. You can use a composite blade. You can take a regular saw blade and turn it backwards. But I found the best is regular old tin snips. Makes a cleaner edge, and there's less rough area for rust to get started. So let me cut this and we'll get moved on. Alright, now we got everything cut. There's our 3 pieces of tin with one cut in half. You got 4 of the 2x4x8s intact. I checked the length on them. Then you got 4 that we cut for the ends, and those are 4 other pieces. All these dimensions will be at the end, and then 3 that I cut up just for the uprights. Okay, now got a 4-foot piece left over for another project, and got 4 little pieces of scrap. Now save the scrap, they're great for leveling this out. I'll move on to assembly and show you that. Alright, we built the outside frames. Now basically these are just the standard 2x4x8s with our side posts, which are 23 3/4. Now you got to make sure you flush as best you can on the ends, and that's very important later. We did both ends like this, flushing them as best we can. You sink in the screws, which I use epoxy covered decking screws. I found that they last a lot longer. Now in the center, that's just what we did. We centered it 4 foot, put it in a post, and this is just for extra support for the metal. Now don't worry about squaring these up yet. We'll square them up when we put the metal on. But next we'll do the ends, and I'll show you how we do those. Alright, we got our sides done here. Now, what we do is, they're 55.5 inches. I make a mark at 3.5 inches, cuts for that. Now what I'll do is I'll put the screws over just a little bit, and then I'll try to center the board on that. Now that all depends on how square your lumber is. And the reason I do that is so that it covers. Okay? Your space in between the other side and this side is roughly 48.5 inches. That gives you a little leeway for your metal. Now, when you're doing this, okay, and you put the side panels on, you can go ahead and put your corner screws in, alright? But don't sink these yet. And reason being is, when you put your metal in, you may need to square it. Now, I always pick a top, and when I pick the top, the reason being is, and I'll show you here, see, I can flush it on the top, but if you have any imperfections, like your saw blade you cut on the wrong side of the line, whatever, that'll be on the bottom. You won't see it, okay? See, that's off just a hair, about a blade width, okay? Now, sometimes that can just be your cut, sometimes that can be all kind of things, okay? But next we're going to put the metal on, and I'll show you how we do that. Alright, so now what we do is we screw the metal on just the top portion of each. Alright, this tells us if the sides are square. Now, the long sides, they're pretty close, okay? I won't have to do anything to those. Now, the one short side, that's close enough I can live with it, okay? But the other one, as you can see, it's off. So, what we'll have to do is, we'll take this, press it up a little bit, and there we go. Now it's pretty close to square. Now I can drive those other screws in and put the rest of the screws into the metal. Alright? Alright, we're setting this into position. I got 3 of the corners already put in, okay? This is the last one. Now what I do is, I'll set 3 screws on that board, and we will flush it up to this board over here. Now before I do that, I just want to show you the inside here. As you can see, it keeps it pretty square. I got 3 screws on the side and 1 on the top and bottom, so 5 on each side, okay? On the short sides, I only got 3 screws along the top, and on the long side, I got 4 screws along the top. It's not that big of an issue because the dirt's going to hold it out, but let me get this last corner in, then all I got to do is flush it up, okay? Let me show you here. Alright, now we're going to have to bring this one corner up and screw it in. So let me get that all done, and I'll get right back to you. Alright, we got it leveled up. Now, next thing is to fill it. So I think next week I'm going to do one on lasagna beds. Okay. Now, with the trees I got in my yard, I'm going to see about root-proofing this bottom. But we're going to do a lasagna bed so we won't have to mess with it much. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope there was something you got out of it. Please subscribe. I'm going to put the plans on the end with material list, but it'll also be on my Facebook page, Georgia Mag Gardener. Well, thank you. You have a good day.
Show yourself to that door. Can't get nothing for your $1 anymore. Get nothing to eat, you get nothing in the bank. There's nothing in your belly if you're the working poor. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.